I love your Canadian accent. It's awesome.
It was Caitlin Clark Mania in Toronto, and yes, that's how you pronounce it. Caitlin and the Fever made their first trip to the Great White North, and fans lined up for kilometers outside Scotiabank Arena, home of the Raptors. I believe it's the 21st time a team has upgraded their arena for Caitlin, and before what would become a record-setting night. The Fever players were having some fun with their northern exposure. First, Caitlin, Sophie, and Lexi tried out some Canadian snacks. Personally, I would have gone for a crispy crunch and a matzado. And while Sophie embraced Canadian cuisine, the Canadians definitely didn't embrace her. They gave her the business. The way she handled it? Absolutely chef's kiss. Just wait. But before the encore hostility, there was also a warm moment with the press. Caitlin was asked about her legacy and impact, and honestly, everyone in the Caitlin Clark resistance should take notes.
When you think about your own legacy, and when people use the words like Caitlin Clark effect, what do you want that to mean when people think back on your legacy as a player?
Yeah, I mean, I hope at the end of the day, a lot of my favorite players growing up, I don't know how many points they ever ended up scoring, or I don't know how many three-pointers they made. Hopefully it's just the impact that you can leave on people and the way you made them feel, and I think that's kind of been the story of my career, and I hope, when I'm done playing one day, that's what people remember the most about me, is the way I've been able to unite people to cheer on basketball and love a game, or bring people together to, love a sport in a way that they maybe never have before. There's so many people that have come up to me and been like, I've never watched women's basketball before, and I don't take offense to that. I think that's a really cool thing to, bring people in that have maybe never experienced something that I've loved all my life. And so I hope, when I'm done, that's probably the biggest thing that I'll probably look back on my career and be proud of, is just the amount of people that I've been able to bring in and enjoy the game that I've always loved since I was a young kid.
Embracing new fans instead of getting upset that they haven't been watching since day one. Who knew growing the game could really be that simple? Caitlin definitely knows a thing or two about it. The Fever's game against the Dream drew a record 2.6 million viewers on ESPN, and I believe it peaked at around 4 million. That means a record audience also witnessed Angel Reese miss that tap-in. Ouch. With a huge viewership expected for this matchup, everyone was anticipating a real bloodbath. The Fever were riding a 4-game winning streak and pushing for the 3rd seed. Caitlin had been on fire and was recently named Player of the Week for the 4th time this season, the most of any player. Like the video and drop an MVP in the comments to congratulate her. Kelsey Mitchell was also scorching hot, even though she needed that Angel Reese last-second miss in the previous game to force overtime. She still reached the 20-point mark for the 19th straight game. We also had KK starting again, and the Fever were 5-0 whenever she started. Meanwhile, the tempo came into the game as one of the WNBA's bottom teams with an ugly 10-23 record. But with Brittany Sykes returning from an 18-game absence and Marina Mabrey also in the mix, you never really know what can happen on the court. And sure enough, we got some fireworks. The Fever came out firing right from the start, with Aaliyah delivering a sweet pass to Kelsey. Caitlin then set Kelsey up beautifully before using some slick moves to score her first bucket of the game. She followed that by finding Lexi for 2 more, giving Lexi 4 points early. Maybe it was all that extra energy from the ketchup chips. Anyway, the score was 12-4, and it looked like a blowout was already brewing because Kelsey simply turned it on from there. She knocked down a 3 to make it 16-4, but then the tempo finally started making some shots, and the Toronto crowd began getting into the game. Those cheers, however, quickly turned into boos the moment Sophie Cunningham stepped onto the court.
Pass, scan the QR code and subscribe today for just $14.99 a month.
But wouldn't you know it? Instead of crying about the boos, Sophie came right back and drained a 3, giving all the Toronto fans the Labatt blues. The big story, though, was Kelsey Mitchell dropping 16 points in the first quarter. Then, in the second, it looked like the game was already over. Caitlin knocked down a step-back 3, and after Aaliyah Boston basically said, "Get that Kraft dinner out of my face," she was rewarded with a beautiful pass from Caitlin. Kelsey Mitchell then showed Angel Reese how to finish on a breakaway, while Caitlin got bumped and still managed to make the shot. The Fever were up 48-32, and it looked like this one was finished. But the tempo slowly fought their way back, and things were about to get heated. Early in the third quarter, Kelsey got into it with, guess who? Marina Mabrey. And this is something you don't see very often from Kelsey. Just read those lips. Don't effing do that again. You've got to love that kind of pushback. And look at Marina. She wanted absolutely none of it. If anything, the confrontation only fired Kelsey up. After Caitlin knocked down a pair of threes to stop the bleeding, she followed it with another ridiculous shot. I mean, look at this one. She had enough time to hop out to Tim Hortons for a double-double on that shot. Mitchell took over once again, going bang, bang, and bang. She finished the third quarter with 29 points, marking her 20th straight game with 20 or more points, tying the WNBA record. And it was a good thing she was cooking because Caitlin was starting to become a bit of a turnover machine, while Lexi was missing some wide-open threes. Then Kelsey disappeared. She didn't play at all in the fourth quarter, and the tempo continued hanging around and getting closer. It looked like the game might finally be over when Sophie knocked down a three late to put the Fever up by 10. But Marina answered with back-to-back threes to cut the lead to just 4. Fortunately for Indiana, the tempo suddenly went cold, and the Fever escaped with a 101-95 victory. It wasn't the prettiest win, but it showed just how dangerous this team can be offensively when they need to make plays. Caitlin finished with 24 points and 7 assists. The turnovers were ugly, and it definitely wasn't her best overall game. But that was still MVP-level production. And thanks to that performance, she became the fastest point guard in WNBA history to reach 700 points in a season. Kelsey, despite sitting out the entire fourth quarter, still finished with an incredible 29 points. Absolutely insane. And with that came another WNBA record. Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell have now each scored 20 or more points in the same game 16 times this season, setting a new single-season record for a duo. And I want to finish with Sophie because she took a lot of heat from the Toronto crowd tonight. But thanks to her sharp shooting, she now leads the league in three-point shooting percentage. And if you want to hear a true PR masterclass, just listen to how she handled that tough Toronto crowd.
Sophie, you got booed a little bit tonight.
Really?
Yeah.
I was kidding. I
Especially
know.
for that.
But you know what? I will tell you, I want to shout out the Tempo crowd in the city. I think we've had so much fun. It's my first time being in Canada. It's a lot of our first times being in Canada. But the crowd was absolutely amazing. And, you know, I think that's what sports is all about. You're going to get boos, you're going to get cheers. But just the fact that they're so passionate, they're loud, and they're putting on for the city, I think it's amazing. So shout out to you guys for coming out and supporting.
Notice how she didn't try to get anyone kicked out or call the fans disrespectful. That's how you handle it. They're sports fans. Booing is part of the game. Well played, Sophie. She got the last laugh, while the Toronto fans can now drown their 10 to 24 sorrows in a 24-pack of Bravo, the beer of summer. And if you're still here, drop a trophy in the comments, because you're a winner for sticking around. Thanks for watching.